here to welcome Si Mohamed Saad to give a speech on our great conference. I hope you have already spent great moments this morning, and we'll begin this afternoon with the talk of Professor Mohamed Saad. Si Mohamed Saad is a digital evangelist, former CEO at the Casablanca Stock Exchange, in charge of IT, finance, and HR. He's administrator within the Risk Committee of the Moroccan Pension Fund, CMR, member of the Board of Directors, the Audit and Risk Committee, and the Strategy and the Technology Committee of the Casablanca Stock Exchange. He was past president of the well-known society OZIM, Association d'Information System Digital Users in Morocco, from 2015 to 2022, and he has operated in the IT services, industry, and finance sectors. On the associative level, he is a founding member of ISACA Casablanca, the Moroccan chapter of ISACA, Chicago and US, Vice President of CCAM, Moroccan Business Continuity Club, and speaker of several national and international universities. Mohamed Saad holds an engineering diploma from INSEAD and a SEC MBA and several international certifications. Mohamed Saad is the author of several columns in the world of digital and information technology. He is also chairman of the Disruptive Technologies Working Group within the African Stock Exchange Association. What a great pleasure to have you, Professor Engineer Si Mohamed Saad. Thank you so much for accepting to be our speakers today. You will give a talk about the future of work at the dawn of AI. What a great title. Thank you so much, Si Mohamed Saad. The floor is yours, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Zab al-Haq. I'm so thrilled to be among you, and to thank, by the way, the wonderful organization, but also the team around you, and but also that top range gathering and the group of people, mainly, developing what the AI could do for a human being and for also the whole society. So my talk, as you mentioned, will be around the future of work at the dawn of AI, and that's something, let me just share my screen with you. Maybe that's okay. Fine. And that's something we have talked about last year during the Assises de l'OZIM, and we have conducted, as you see in that slide, with the École Centrale and the Junior Enterprise of École Centrale Club, the Junior Association, a survey that talked about that. So mainly, we will see the main figures concerning that survey. So as you see, we have something like 155 companies that took part to that survey, and they're coming from different economic sectors, so banking, finance, and IT, and insurance, and energy, etc., etc. So it is very well representative of the economy and the CGOM, which is the main body grouping the companies in Morocco. So we have 5 main chapters. Knowing that, I would share the presentation with the audience and with you, so as we can spread it and share it with people. 5 main chapters were questioned that I can summarize maybe. So first, we'll talk about human resources. The landscape is mainly dominated by teleworking, and here, as you can see the impacts of COVID, and the COVID period was very important on the survey and on the economy and the whole world. So human resources on demand, it means that that concept of pay as you go, and we will see that a lot of people have switched to from companies to the freelance mode, earning much more. But on the other hand, a lot of questions could be raised here concerning the belonging to a company, concerning the sense, concerning the reason being of a company. So these are some questions that we will talk about a little bit later. So you have also AR is quite a new nose, and if not already, so very serious question to be also raised here. And last but not least, you have universities are a little bit lagging behind. So 35% is not enough because of that heavy way to change curriculums and heavy way maybe to adopt also the topics to something we are living and we have lived since 2020. And here, that's why you have 35% only is that question concerning the academic training, if ever it meets the needs, the future needs. So concerning the adaptability of the organization, so change is already here and it's here to last. So threats are the other dark face of the moon. I mean, digitalization. So organizations should be aware about security, but also the readiness in terms of security, but also compliance. We have to be aware of it, because digitalization would come with some benefits, but also with some disadvantages to be considered. So 18% of people are talking about digitalization opportunities. That shows clearly that there's a gap between sectors. The finance sector is not the same as SMEs, or it's not the same as the administration and GovTech. So for sure, you have the gap between different types of companies, but also different economic sectors. Then 61% is about skills. So more or less confidence in the availability of resources. I'm not that confident in that figure, 61%. I don't know if companies, they know what they're talking about, because now we're talking about new skills when talking about AI, machine learning, and big data and analytics and all that stuff. I don't know if such skills are already there, or we have trained our colleagues but also our staff on those new skills. So then you have new technologies and new digital world. So first, we are talking about robotization. It is also very important to talk about that. And now we're talking about cobot, which means collaborative robot, and that's something that becomes a little bit reachable, especially in the industrial sectors. When talking about a robot that would cost $20,000, it's not that much. And when also we're talking about reshaping the procedures and policies and making maybe that mix between people and robot, and that's something that could enhance but also improve our procedures, policies, and manual activities, etc., etc. So we can also talk about RPAs, which is something interesting to implement in the especially in the service sectors, in banking and finance. So that's something I can see around me in major banks. That's something they have already been exploiting, but also experimenting some folks on RPAs. There are also some companies, IT companies, affording but also providing such services, such softwares, and such improving features. So we're talking also about algorithms, and Mark Andreessen would say algorithm would eat everything. So algorithm is there. That's the basis of the maybe artificial intelligence. So most of the companies are aware of it. So fourth pillar, we'll talk about new technologies and new worlds. So half of the organizations they consider that robots would replace employees. Well, it's a fact, or if it's a feeling, I don't know. Future will tell. So future will tell that if robot will replace maybe people. We will see an Oxford study that talks about that since 2013 and 14. That's for sure jobs will change and will embrace that change where we're living. So AI will impact the jobs. That's a fact. So metaverse will have an impact on life. I don't know, since maybe Meta had changed its vision from the metaverse. Maybe the version or the release of metaverse has maybe changed, but metaverse is there, and maybe with the developments in the future, we know the crisis of NFTs and the cryptos, etc. Nowadays, we don't know in the future. Maybe that's something that could come back and maybe re-change the way we see the world in terms of metaverse and all the technologies coming behind the metaverse. So five and the fifth and the last pillars, we'll talk about offices and workplaces. So workplace, and since the COVID has totally changed, so we see now that a lot of companies, they would push people to spend some days at home working from home. So that was something quite impossible before COVID. So now a lot of companies are pushing people to stay at home. So yes, the culture has changed, and management has changed also the way they would see the work, and that's the beginning of the future of work. As an example, OCP, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest company in Morocco. So till now, their headquarters is still empty. So people, thousands of people, they are working from home, and they are working from cafes, and that's the way they are delivering nowadays. So half of the respondents, they think that physical is still alive, and headquarters are still there. Till when, we'll see. So let me maybe emphasize some insights about the future of work already reached, as I mentioned, but unfortunately unequally distributed. So when we assess the future of work by maybe SMEs side or the big companies, huge companies, there's a huge gap between those two main kind of the companies. So future of work is expected to have a profound impact on various aspects of life, including, as you see in the slide, so schooling, graduation, more education, adult education, employment, marriage, family, etc., etc. So schooling will not be the same. So we see now that e-learning is reshaping the way we are universities, but schools are providing education. And that's something important that will have an impact on families. So growth of the online education is also something to be considered. So remote work will also become more prevalent. Online education is expected to grow for sure. So a lot of MBAs now are provided through online and working e-learning programs. So another chapter is about graduation. So graduation is also something to be reconsidered. There's no stated path. I have a friend of my daughter who she is graduated from a major engineering school in France, and she chose last year to go to New Zealand and spend a year traveling and learning from life and from people there. So that's something we see now with the digital natives and but also the Z generation. So they would see life and work differently from what we are now. So that's something also to be something to be considered. So marriage also will we're looking for work-life balance. A lot of also digital natives are looking for the work-life balance. So remote work and flexible schedules would push people to rearrange differently the gathering, the family, and the marriage. So home ownership also, considering the teleworking and e-working, is something to be considered. Having a baby also is something to be considered, knowing that, for example, in Morocco, we are considering the parent leave, which is a huge step towards that equality between women and men. So that's also important to be considered. So family dynamics is also about flexible work arrangements. Flexible work arrangements may impact traditional family structures, shared responsibilities for childcare, household tasks, etc., etc. There's also something to talk about is the dual career couples. So nowadays the both parents are working outside home, so that's something also to be considered. So they could stay at home if ever they are on the teleworking, maybe go outside if ever they are questioned to be outside. So so there's something to be considered here in terms of the future of the family relationship, especially between the parents. So for sure, there's a life before COVID-19 and a life after COVID-19. There's also a huge impact on work before and after COVID-19. So that's why I would share with you some insights and some facts coming from big visionaire in the world, especially Gardner. So on the slide, and as you can see, less than third will select the corporate office as their preferred place to work. Less than third. So 1/3 of individuals would prefer corporate office, and that shows a significant shift in workplace dynamics, where maybe in the near past we were hundreds of people taking maybe breakfast and heading to work at 8, leaving work at 6 or at 8 or whatever it is. But that was life was organized like that. So transformation is propelled by some factors, including flexibility afforded by technology, since we can work from home, and heightened focus on work-life balance, advancements in collaboration tools, for sure, Zoom and Teams and other softwares, changing perceptions of productivity, access to a global talent pool, healthy and safety considerations, but also environmental awareness. So all these factors will lead to, in the future, that a lot of people would prefer to maybe stay at home or maybe in this second home. I don't know, some who have houses, second house somewhere in the world would choose to work from that second house, vacation house, but to stay efficient and effective to provide the right quality of work to the employer. So remote work gains popularity, and that's also important. So another fact is that we have a space problem. A benchmark, Gardner benchmarked that $150 billion is a wasted office. So that's also a huge figure, very important. But also offices are occupied only 23% of their time. And factors contributing to this waste include underutilized spaces, inefficient layouts. We'll talk later about meeting rooms, inefficient layouts like meeting rooms, outdated work practices, but also high overhead costs. And we saw that in the Moroccan survey. So a lot of people now assess that, yes, for sure, we could be effective and efficient at home. So no need for huge buildings in very expensive locations, wherever it is in the world. So in that other slide, we're talking about, yes, the meeting rooms when we know, and I'm now at a meeting room, it is 70 square meters, nobody in, and there was nobody during the whole day. So we can imagine that waste, and especially in our companies, a lot of meeting rooms are underutilized. So a meeting room is in use only 4 in 10 seats are occupied on average. So that's also a statistics coming from Gardner. So let us maybe dig a little bit more in, maybe when talking about how AI will shape the work of future of work. We have 3 main pillars, talking about hyper automation, talking about worker, and we're talking about the workforce on demand. So let's start with the hyper automation and predominates and the routine of work. So another statistics and coming from Gardner is that more than 1 billion workers' behaviors positively altered by algorithm in 2020. Now it is around, in 2025 will be around 3 billion. And I have mentioned that survey coming from Oxford University. So here you have some jobs that will be impacted by AI. So it depends on jobs. So telemarketers will be impacted by 99%, accountants in 94%, retail 94%. Unfortunately, only 0.5 for dentists. I mean that a dentist will remain to be a dentist. Fortunately, I don't know with a robot how it would work to remove stuff and but also to intervene on surgeries, and but also anything that could impact health. So let's have a look. Let's have a look to maybe in the future what could be the normal day of a manager. So managers are experiencing a significant shift in their roles, especially. So could you see? I gave a sample of what could be a day for a manager. So transitioning from strict supervision and controls and meeting to a facilitator, moderator, a coach to his collaborator. So remote work has necessitated adaptation, demanding virtual leadership and coordination skills. And as you see, very few tasks could be done at the office, and that could necessitate the presence of the manager. So when talking about worker and digital dexterity, today we are using still some tools to solve new problems. When we're using ERPs to solve maybe invoices, sales, and maybe warehouse problems, where we can use some other features coming from the world of AI, machine learning, and deep learning, and other software that could have enough intelligence to let people to think more, to design more, and to analyze more. So that's also the problem with the emailing. A lot of people now are using instant messaging instead of emailing. A lot of I can give my example as a C-level director. We are more using instant messaging instead of sending an email and waiting for an answer that could come a day later, or maybe days later, or maybe that could not come. That's because the email has been maybe put in the bench of emails, and nobody would care to go and fetch for that mail. So that's a big problem. So still we're talking about policies and procedures, and we'll see, for example, that nowadays we're using other way to look for information, to fetch information, to learn. And the 4 facts and statistics coming from that survey on that slide is very important. So 6 in 10 of employees develop new skills through their colleagues. So we are more confident, and it's easier to go and look for the information and to ask your peer, instead of going maybe and looking a procedure and a policy, or to go on a long learning journey. So 6 in 10 of employees develop new skills through their colleagues. So 7 in 10 of employees expect both learning and development to occur outside the classroom. So that's also important. So learning by doing, but also learning with different initiatives in a different way, instead of having someone who would maybe give the speech and wait for maybe to be questioned. So that's also the way we're changing the way we're learning. So 4 in 10 of skills employees use today were learned in the last years. So only 4 in 10 are learned in the last year. So that's also something to be considered to improve and enhance the way we are learning. 7 in 10 of employees expect to learn and develop just in time, and that requires developing employees at their time of need. Means that if I'm in need of something, I would go and fetch for it, and at that time I will be more volunteer to learn instead of maybe to learn a lot of skills or a lot of subjects that maybe I cannot use in the near future. So that's also something to be considered. The third very important pillar is the workforce on demand, and that's something that was raised by the Salim Ismail in his big survey about exponential organization. So we have here something like 10 main skills. So stuff on demand, I choose only to talk about stuff in demand, knowing that there are many other skills and maybe other also pillars to develop at that exponential organization. And as you can see, the Michael Shui partner at McKinsey, he would say that the best way to harness a human talent is through full-time exclusive employment relationships where people are paid for the amount of time. And that's very important to tackle here. They would spend at a common location. So they should be organized in stable hierarchies where they are evaluated primarily through the judgment of their superiors and how they do their jobs and the jobs is described. So the main idea here is that we are hiring very nice, smart people, and we're gonna put them in job descriptions. We're gonna put them in boxes, and we'll tell them that there are some borders, 4 borders. You don't have to cross the border, and you have only to think considering to the job description, 2 pages I would give you. So here we are really insulting the intelligence, human being intelligence, knowing that you're hiring someone who is very well educated, graduated, and coming from research universities and everything. He has a brain. He is 20-something, 30-something, whatever it is, and you're putting him in a box of 2 pages, a job description. So this is very tricky. And that's why a lot of people would go maybe and develop their careers and develop their skills and embrace what we have mentioned, the freelance. And you will, at the end, you will call them whenever you're in need of them, our company, stuff on demand, and there you will have the best of the best that would come to work for you. You will pay them the right price, and everyone is okay, and everyone happy with it, because the freelance is very happy because he would earn more than being an employee, and the employer, he would call for the guy and for that stuff. That the only time, the duration of the project, of the task or the activity. So here's a very important point to tackle here in future, when talking about the future of work. So I put in the presentation those two main use cases, talking about Valvi and Zappos. They are really a top range companies that they understood very well how to deal with the change in the mindset of people, change in the culture, change of organization. So you can find in Valvi, for example, that there's no management. People are following the first objective, the first year objective coming from maybe the shareholders border, and they would provide and to manage themselves. They would work on teams and having that objective, and they would deliver at the end of quarter or semester or the end of year. So having no control, no pressure on them. So for sure, they are delivering much better than many other companies. So Zappos are also doing the same. They are also in the my coup de cœur in terms of hiring people. They would go and find in the markets people that could embrace their culture, the mindsets and everything, and that's also very important. So there are some caricature that show that yes, for sure, the future of work is here to stay, and it would last more and more. And for sure, if we don't think deeply and seriously to that, yes, we can be replaced one day by the machine. Then yeah, maybe that's an extremism, that's who is right and who is wrong, where is the right, maybe artificial intelligence or the human intelligence. So yes, we will let the future answer that big question. So I think that I'm okay in terms of time, 30 minutes, and thank you for having listened to me, and I'm available for any question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, C. Mohamed Saad, for your great talk. It's very inspiring. Thank you for having shared a lot of details about your study and your survey. This is incredible to share this with the MoroccoAI community, and we believe that all the stakeholders will benefit from this study.
Sure.
Yeah, so I have some questions from the attendees. The first one is very related to this dichotomy, if I would say, between AI and digital transformation. So the first question is, do you think we should be really concerned about the theme of the future of work and how machines can replace some human jobs if we haven't yet adopted digital technologies effectively?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Maybe my analysis of, when we talk about such big, huge topics like AI, or also blockchain, whatever it is, big data and everything, is maybe to go back some years earlier, maybe 1,000, hundreds of years earlier. And you see that there are a lot of jobs that existed in the other centuries, prior centuries, recent centuries, maybe the early 90s or the last century, that doesn't exist anymore. And for sure, the jobs are reshaping themselves and adapting themselves. That's because of different technologies coming around, different tools, different behavior, but also human being needs. So nowadays, I don't know if you have ever heard about the waker, le réveilleur, the waker. At the industrial revolution, there was someone who would come and knock at the door of people or at the window of people to wake them. That's because they have to go to work at 6 or 7 o'clock morning. That's something that doesn't exist anymore, and we have changed the way. That's because nowadays we're surrounded by gadgets everywhere to awake us. So that's why a lot of jobs would disappear for maybe the best or the worst, but technology is there to help. Technology, tools, software, robots, and everything, artificial intelligence is there to help. Unless we are the responsible, but also the guilty of doing something wrong for humanity and human being. I mean, for example, the big hype about transhumanism. Raymond Kurzweil, who is the chief engineer at Google, he's talking a lot about that, but also Salim Ismail and Raymond Kurzweil and Peter Diamandis and all those people. They're talking about transhumanism, and they're also talking about how to change the gene, the gene, and maybe how to make us maybe more strong towards in front of diseases, could be AIDS or something else. And there's we are scratching something that is very dangerous to pay attention to. That's because you have you are voluntarist maybe to help people to be stronger in front of a disease, but some other people in other countries, in other groups, in other parts of the world, they will try to make it maybe a danger for human beings. So it depends on from which side you put yourself and to make it at the benefits or at the disadvantages of human beings. But AI for sure is, for me, I'm a digital advocate and evangelist and encourage SMEs, but also companies and to use it to enhance and improve the development and growth of those companies.
Great. I have another question. I know you already answered big part of it in your speech because of the survey, but I have this question. Is there any specific context for Morocco and Africa in general to tackle this issue of the future of work? So you already gave some broad idea about Morocco and with the survey, but the question is maybe more general here with African countries.
Yes, I'm sure that the minister talked this morning about many projects and programs that are at the benefits of to push that future of work to be beneficial for the economy. But there's something maybe to tackle here is the code of labor. Code of labor is not aligned on the future of work. The code of labor, especially in Morocco, in the last 20 years, it has been changed once. I think in 2004 or 5. Let me share with you a concern. Now, someone who is working at home, from home, is he covered by the insurance in terms of, I don't know, whatever, if ever he has an accident at home, is he covered? Our Moroccan code of labor is not clear about that. And the company could do what she wants. In other countries, they have raised the question. They have answered the question. It's so clear. Everyone is okay. It's very square. And I know my responsibility when I'm working from home. The company knows also its responsibility when it would push people to work from home. So these are something that very tricky and very critical. And we don't, few people are talking about that. And these are the right questions maybe to raise. I guess in Africa, I had a visit and I paid a visit to many countries. We're more or less the same. Maybe when talking about Egypt and Tunisia, South Africa, we're more or less the same, and we have same problems, and we're also following same pace of adopting the future of work.
Okay, great. And His Excellency the Minister this morning said that he is willing to have the answers and recommendations about this Code of Labors. I think we will review the Code of Labor next year, and he's going to have many answers of the many questions he asked this
Wonderful.
morning.
Wonderful.
Yeah, this is the question. I know all what you have said is maybe applicable for private sector. I don't know if public sector is concerned as well, but this is the question. How about the public sector? Do they need to address the question of future of work in the same way of the private sector?
Well, I think that's a very nice and critical question. I think that's what we are living nowadays with the teachers and at the education sector is a huge sign that would show that there's a gap between the, I don't know, big minds, the way they would see life and the future, and maybe the real operational, on the real operational field, there's another reality. So that gap in terms of mindset leads nowadays to 3 months strike. So that's very important, is that the government and the public sector, they should also reshape themselves in terms of mindset, in terms of digitalization, in terms of the way management it has to change. You know, we are miles away from what is experimented nowadays in, I don't know, in Bangalore, in Lahore, in Silicon Valley, and other places where maybe we are following very advanced way of delivering work and services and products and services, and the way now we are also but still, I mean, positive way to say it is that we see that you have young ministers, you have a young culture coming and embracing our government structures, and for sure, and you met our employment minister this morning, but also all the others, Ritam Zour, but also Leila Ben Ali and the others. So there's a wave of positivism in our government, and I'm sure in the near future, with all the projects coming in infrastructure and also challenges coming, I'm sure that will improve and will enhance the way we're delivering.
Okay, thank you. I have lots of questions in the.
For sure. Hello?
I will take this one from Sihan. Yeah. Sihan, we notice many companies, your connection. Do I have?
Hello? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Okay. So we notice many companies in Morocco scaling back on remote work in the last year, unfortunately, and obligating all employees to return to the office. We're creating inefficiencies and also huge traffic jams in big cities like Casablanca. Shall the government create incentive to companies to adopt remote or hybrid work in a more sustainable way? This is a question maybe related to the Code of Labor. Maybe
yes. Yes, Code of Labor is one of the major incentives. But also maybe when talking about the energy consumptions, and yes, that lady talks also about the traffic jams and all those collateral damages, especially in the big cities like Casablanca and other cities. So for sure, but for the, you know, the freedom but the freedom, yes, given to companies to choose the way they would like to deal with their employers, but also they would like to deal with their activities. We cannot, yes, we can put incentive, but we cannot push them, stress them, and oblige them to choose that way or the other way. But as I can see, yes, around me, financial sector maybe, but also the capital markets, yes, they're still on the maybe 1 or 2 days teleworking, yes, working from home. Maybe in the industrial sector is a little bit more willing to push people to work from home, because it's an industry is an industry. If you have to produce and manufacture, I don't know, a bottle of Coke, it should be done on the manufacturing and not at home. But maybe for services, especially service sectors, they could, yes, they could deliver from home. And the example I gave from OCP, which is, the culture of OCP is centennial. OCP exists from the early 20s, and they push all people working at the headquarters to work and provide from home. So till now, and yeah, 3 years and more, people are still at home teleworking. So that would give maybe the example, such shift would take time to maybe become something stated in the culture of, or in the landscape. So for sure it would take time, and yes, mindset would change by the way, and yes, X generation, our generation, 50s and 60s, and maybe they would change their mind and maybe let people to deliver from home. Yes, that's better for everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Si Mohamed Saad. I have lots of questions that remains here, but I think we can answer them, or we can transfer them to you afterwards, and
yes,
you can. So last,
Marhaba. Great pleasure.
the MoroccoAI community would like to thank you, and we would like to maybe last word in French to the Moroccan community.
J'étais vraiment ravi de faire ce bout de chemin avec vous. Je vais partager la présentation. Le future of work est quelque chose que, comme je l'ai dit, hein, elle est là pour durer. Hein. Enfin, on ne peut pas faire de marche arrière. Hein, et on voit que le mindset et l'état d'esprit a complètement changé. Moi-même, avec mes équipes aujourd'hui, je ne leur pose plus la question, est-ce que vous êtes au bureau? Je leur dis, s'il te plaît, tu peux travailler sur ceci ou cela. Ça peut se faire à travers WhatsApp. Most of the time, it's through WhatsApp, instant messaging. Encore une fois. Donc, comme je l'ai aussi répondu dans la question précédente, cela prendra du temps pour que ça fasse partie de la culture. Vous savez ce qu'on dit, Peter Drucker disait, Culture eats strategy for breakfast. La culture est beaucoup plus importante que toute autre façon de faire, ou de management, ou de procédure, ou de politique. Et donc, pour qu'on puisse changer un petit brin epsilon dans la culture, il faut du temps. Donc, laissons le temps au temps. Et j'étais ravi d'être parmi vous aujourd'hui. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Si Mohamed Saad, and thank you so much for all your insightful ideas and you shared with us. Thank you so much, and next, inshallah, we will meet very soon. Bye.
For sure, inshallah. Marhaba. All the best.
Thank you.